What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review a 2012 mixtape by Nipsey Hussle. Basically, this product is called The Marathon Continues Extra Laps, and it came out in the winter. This project is called The Marathon Continues Extra Laps, and it came out in the winter of 2012. So the thing about this particular product here is this came out in the surge of like the Dat Piff mixtape era of like the early 2010s as far as this first going to happen. The velocity of it was reaching pretty highness within the factor of it, but 2012 started to be a little bit more melded down. But this is actually probably one of the apex years between 2012 and 2013. I faintly remember Nipsey Hussle around this particular time. He was kind of more in like the trenches of like the mixtape type fare. I don't think he was on the verge of dropping an album back in like 2011, 2012 when he was dropping the Marathon Continues sagas, but it's not to say he wasn't full bound huge. I mean, he had over 100,000 followers on Twitter back in like 2011, pitches like that. But this is kind of the concept. I don't know why that sort of popularity didn't have him dropping an album back in those days, but it was this kind of the concept. He had plenty of mixtapes that he had plenty of mixtapes that he did within those particular fairs. A lot of these had wiki pages about them, so he was a big deal throughout that particular mixtape, grit and those sorts of grinds. But I look after, I do remember him dropping like a mixtape that he said he was going to sell for $100 a copy as far as was first going to happen. I think it was Crenshaw from 2013, so I remember that particular fair, just initial moments of crossing paths with Nipsey Hussle. I want to say he did like some songs with the Game and folks like that. He might have been on the Game's Purpim Patron, something of that particular type fare. I know he was on Snoop Dogg's Malice in Wonderland, so I remember some of those type moments. But just within the pitch, as far as saying some good type fare to kind of get this here. This is like a bonus package and like an expansion pack to the Marathon Continues project from late 2011 as far as what's first going to happen. It's the same sort of atmosphere. A lot of these songs in here are not finished within the traces of it. It's just kind of the concept with some leftovers and just extra ideas that didn't have the full bound composition and like their completions just within the tone. But I do like this is a pretty excessive type product within the concept of the quality behind it, real thorough within the pitch. And the last time I checked in with Nipsey Hussle was way back in the summer of 2020 during like the pandemic, and I remember particularly like I enjoyed quite a few songs on the Marathon Continues. I still have a lot of them on my particular MP3 player, like That's What Hoes Do and some of those type ones. There's like some other ones as far as those fairs can happen. Good assortment. I did remember probably giving that project like over a 7 out of 10. Nowadays, I'd probably enjoy that project a lot more, but that's just kind of that's the difference between like the summer of 2020 to like the winter or the spring of 2025 as far as those fairs can happen nowadays. And then pitch this mixtape. Out of the 9 songs on this project, wound up recommending 8 of them, so it's really only one song I don't recommend just from the pitch. But yeah, this virtually on the cusp of getting a classic score here. Now, I'm not sure, because this was kind of a leftover type project, I'm not really sure if it had singles or something like that. I think he was probably still promoting like the concept of the Marathon Continues as far as those fairs can happen. But I look within the pitch as far as saying here that it is a piece of excellence within the pitch behind it. I like the concept of folks kind of having like expansion packs, like the same saga, just leftovers from that particular recording session as far as those fairs can happen. I think more folks need to do that. You know, folks like Eminem, folks like Rick Ross, folks like, Snoop Dogg, folks like that in particular. I mean, you get the pitch that folks probably do it within certain sessions, but when you say that you want like some leftovers from like Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent or 2001 by Dr. Dre or just folks like that, probably the Blue Carpet Treatment by Snoop Dogg, some of those type fairs, just a good type pitch, kind of get some of those type ones. But I mean, with it, they're there, but you just have to search for them. That's what mixtapes kind of do. But this one the pitch, some bonus type packaging. So yeah, basically, like I said, I'm not sure if there was a single out this product, but out of the 9 songs on here, the only song I don't recommend is Faith. So talk about that one real quick. This is just kind of like some rainy day makeshift and like a personal type cut that just didn't nail the execution of it as far as those fairs gonna happen. I think it was going for like a makeshift type tone, but just had a little bit more faithy type aspect about it within the pitch, just a little bit more gospel like, not necessarily full blown gospel with like the choir and stuff, but just more of like seemingly more Sunday kind of faithy type music just within the pitch behind it. It's kind of within the atmosphere. It just didn't catch on as full bound as what I might have wanted it to as far as this pitch can happen. But it is some excellent type fare within the pitch behind it. Just didn't catch on as full bound much as I would have wanted to as far as this first can happen. But the rest of this project has its excellence about it within the pitch. So yeah, I'm going to give this mixtape like a 9.5 out of 10 as far as this fair is going to go. I mean, because it's only 9 songs, it's just within the pitch that if you don't recommend every single song, it has to slash the score within a certain sense. But I was just looking after it just within the pitch. So 8 out of 9, virtually on the cusp of being like a 10 out of 10. If it had been like 10 out of 11, it probably would have gotten a 10 out of 10 or something like that. It's just for the pitch, just the concept of just having some extra packaging. It's dope that there were 9 extra songs that were worked on for the Marathon Continues session. So just to go down the list of some of these, Bulgari Shades is a real nice one. It's like a simmering kind of summer sizzle to kind of get here. Just an evening kind of basking, I had to say about this one. Just some Cali Sunshine, definitely. Just a good song to stroll to and toke up as far as those fairs kind of happen. Just a concept of typical kind of summer neighborhood type romps, pitches like that, picking up some zingers, some checks, mix some fairs like that. Just typical type pitch as far as those particular aspects will kind of happen with it. Just some good type tones, and just neighborhood, some good type fairs and neighborhood romps, pitches like that. Just a good concept, but just something that Tupac would have done in '96, one of those type fairs, just in more 2011, 2012 type fashion within it. So it's a good type tone for that. R&B type flavor within the pitch. There are some R&B flavor type ones that have Drake-esque type qualities about them. Bulgari shades, intoxicated, and to a certain extent, we ride, and like there's another one on here we just having fun, some of those type pitches. So this is pretty pop rap flavor within the pitch behind it. Just that essence of like 2010, 2011 mixtape type fair when you had like the Young Money and Drake type movement. It feels like Nipsey Hussle had that honed. It's not to say that he was biting styles, just more within the pitch. Like that was just a particular era of how a lot of hooks kind of particularly sounded. Folks that had like just those pop rap kind of Drake-like hooks as far as those pitch kind of happens. Just a good fashion to kind of get some of that type fairs. It's a good type pitch to kind of have for that chart appeal. So many songs ripped out of 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012 kind of had that fair. So it's just from the pitch, good radio ready type stuff that just feels like songs like It's Over, some of those type pitches by Drake. I'd say good type pitch. But we just having fun. It's a nice one. This is a good type tone here, and this is like a vibing kind of Spotify sesh kind of highlight. I'd have to say just very Drake-esque. I'd have to say with like a radio grab about it. And this is a glissy type song. Yeah, but this is we just having fun. Is this one that feels ripped out of like the winter of 2010, the fall of 2009, just the pitch of like mixtape grit, or just the pitch of like mixtape type gloss from like the Young Money era, some of those type fairs. So just real nice staple, some of that particular internet rap kind of initial type moments. Not to say internet rap like Nipsey was an internet rapper, but just in the pitch of some of those moments like the Dat Piff and mixtape sites like that, I'd have to say within the pitch behind, so it's good. And mixtape sites like that, I'd have to say within the pitch, so it's good type tone. Intoxicated is a pretty quality one. Now, a lot of these just in the pitch, like most of these songs are just one verse or so type songs within the pitch. You'll get the hook on there, some of that type fare. There is at least a song like Top Floor that particularly has more to it, but it's just within the pitch. A lot of these are just kind of not necessarily half-baked, but just kind of unfinished within the concept, just kind of leftovers and afterthoughts as far as what's first going to happen. But Intoxicated's a real nice one. It's like a woozy kind of Tupac-like kind of summer glaze kind of get here. Just a bleary kind of mixtape radio grab I'd have to say about this one. Good song to drink a brew to and flirt as far as those aspects going to happen. It's good type tone. Just something just like Bulgari Shades, just a little bit more woozy within the pitch behind it. Just feels like a song by Tupac, like Just Like Daddy, that same sort of emphasis kind of aspect of just like some real stretching kind of quality about it. Just real nice one to just appreciate the summer skies and just pitches like that. It's real great ambience about some of these type ones. Just the glaze behind these is very strong. It's like the pitch behind a lot of this. Pretty, it nails the aspect of the energy with it. Top Floor is a quality one, and this is one of the ones that's in a more finished aspect, but it's like a vintage kind of early 2010s mixtape grind cut to kind of get here. Just a thrilling motivator, I'd have to say. Just some of those Jeezy motivation type vibes. Nipsey Hussle's pretty good at these with like the Marathon Continues mantra and some of those type aspects. It's like a taste of some fun grit as far as what's first going to happen. So this just feels like, this is probably one that feels like a good leftover, like the Marathon Continues mixtape, just within the pitch behind it. One of those type ones that just get you on your feet and get you out the door within like the concept of some money grabs and some of that type flavor just within the pitch. Just typical kind of 2011, 2010 mixtape type grind within the pitch behind it. This typical type format just feels like a standard. Top Floor just feels like a standard kind of banner Dat Piff type song within the pitch behind a good type flair, easy enough aspect. Noah's Ark is a quality one within that pitch. Noah's Ark is a quality one within these pitches, like a stock quality kind of mixtape mist ambience kind of get here. Just once again feels ripped out of 2010, something like that. I'd have to say I like the Rick Ross sample and like the background as far as what's first going to happen. It's like some typical grit kind of outside I'd say about this. So just the fare of just being out in the wind within pitches like that, just in a more mixtape type composition within the tone. Just everyday type fashion within the aspect of more night commerce as far as what's first going to happen. So it's just a good type tone for just like almost kind of makeshift, but just more relief within the sense of just like the concept of all right, tasks are done. It's kind of the pitch of figuring out what's going to happen. Just within the concept of like the typical kind of urban type sense within the pitch as far as that particular gun goes. Just listening, just the concept of really knowing, not just Dat Piff once a month or once every 3 months, something like that, but the actual concept where you have routine kind of mixtape CDs in your car, some of those type fashions. You're constantly burning CDs, some of that type stuff within the pitch. You know about more than 4 or 5 or 6 Meek Mill mixtapes and Nipsey Hussle mixtapes and folks like that, Rick Ross mixtapes, some of those type fares. Just the pitch of actually having that particular fare of it being everyday type fashion. So it's just good type tone. It's typical grit within that fashion, and just having that particular, I mean, within a makeshift sense, this is actually one that has a little bit of makeshift about it, just within the pitch. It just more cruise around, just getting errands done within the concept, but just the fashion, having that blended with like the pitch of just like within a more routine kind of urban sense. So it's a good type tone for that. I'd say Sound of My Ceremony, it's a nice one. This is another makeshift type one in a more white collar type sense. This song's like this Sound of My Ceremony is like a social kind of white collar get together motions kind of get here. Something that probably Robin Thicke would kind of do within those fashions, just more within a pitch and not being an R&B song. It's like some mixtape sauce that had, say, in a more composed sense that has supposed. So it's just good. It's a good type pitch. Nipsey Hussle's pretty good at these type ones. Just the fashion where you would think this kind of a get together where it just has like some, like the song says, ceremonious type, or this song has some ceremonious type sanctions about it, but just within the pitch, it just kind of having like that typical kind of mixtape type fashion about it as well. So it's this good type pitch, kind of get some of that. Just a free type song to be able to have for like the composition, more graceful type moments, but also still within a urban type sense and just more rawness with the factor of it. So it's a good type tone. Just like the pitch behind some of these type, like the pitch behind the tones behind this product. Just the thing about it is it kind of has like the public, or this particular product has some of that public relations type factor that folks like Drake and Rick Ross were starting to get around that time, but also within the composition not being watered down, having the concept as far as saying like just losing like some of the fashion and like that hunger and grit as far as those tones gonna happen. So it's just within the pitch as far as getting to some of this, but some good type tones for that. Am I Going Make It's a nice one as well. Now this is a real deep type one, like the pitch behind it. It's too bad this was not more of completed of a song, but this is like a harrowing kind of rumination, I'd had to say, just some deep in between kind of ponder it has, suppose, about this particular one. Just Tupac kind of paranoia, just like songs like Death Around the Corner, some of those type pitches in a more mixtape type format out of 2010, 2011. Good song to grub to and trek to as far as those first gonna happen. So just typical kind of outs, pretty similar to Noah's Ark, but just a little bit more within like the paranoia, a little bit more harrowing and sobering within the pitch behind it. It's more sweat drop type music within the pitch as far as just questioning like the concept of like what the next move is, and just kind of the concept of just gotta look over your shoulder, death around the corner type pitch within the concept behind it. But Nipsey was pretty good at these. It's good type pitch to be able to get that. Makes me question if his album Victory Lap, some of those type fairs or other products, but it's just good type pitch that he had those particular vibes that he could give, just like Tupac kind of did. And I think the last song I haven't talked about on here is We Ride. This is a nice type one as well. It's like a hot day, kind of day drifting, kind of get here, just some in between errands commerce that I'd say. Good Cali Sun type song, kind of get within those pitches. Good song to grab. It's a good song to grab supplies to and holla at your pals and bellas as far as those pitch kind of happens. So it's a good type pitch. Yeah, We Ride is just typical kind of ride out type music within the tone behind it. Feels a little bit more extra within the pitch. Just kind of feels like a concept, but just trying to figure out what's going on here. Just kind of the pitch of like having some extra time, but just kind of more through like the in between kind of motions of it. Just not necessarily at point A or point B, but just the concept, but just kind of feel it. Not necessarily an awkward type song, but just within the pitch as far as like, just it just feels like less of ambience between like the extra time that kind of goes along with some of these type moments. It's kind of the pitch as far as saying, oh, I guess I'll hit up Arby's or something like that, hit up hit up Arby's, something like that, just buy like a belt, buy like a belt, something like that, just kind of the more offhanded type fashion just within the pitch as far as like those concepts, just within the aspect of just like more roundabout kind of moments in like an errands type fashion. So it's good type pitch, but it nails the delivery about it. It's just more mainstream type fashion, but just with Nips, it nails the delivery about it, but just within the fashion, Nipsey Hussle being more like a on the grind type hustler within the pitch, just kind of the concept for him to have some extra time just within the pitch and not being grind mode or recreational type mode within the pitch, just kind of the concept, but this kind of feels like a more kind of just ambient type moment that just feels less kind of within the pitch behind it. Now, within the tone and the product of the song, the way the song kind of goes, it feels like a ride out type song. Was just within the pitch. It's just not a ferocious type song, but it's also not like a boisterous. It's not like a ferocious type song within like a party goer type sense, but it's also not like a more hustling kind of song within the pitch as far as getting on the grit, something like that. So it's just kind of extra within the moment as far as it's like a Tupac kind of ride around type moment, but just not as ferocious within the aspect behind it. So it's just good type pitch, just some extra type moments, it's in between, just within fair. Makes me question if Nipsey Hussle could normally pull off that particular type aspect. It was a good type tone for it, just kind of an in-between one. So that's just within the pitch behind it. So yeah, basically the tone behind this mixtape here, give it a 9.5 out of 10. Like I was saying, good type tone for a lot of these. It has the chart appeal, has the aspect of just like extra flavoring and spices, like the concept of like the grit and the overall mixtape classic that was the Marathon Continues. Just a bonus package that nails those particular vibes, even despite the fact that a lot of these songs are unfinished. Just a good product to like some extra type flavorings that nail the particular vibe about it and do it well just within the pitch. As far as those particular tones go, 9.5. Now the social score I'll probably give give like a 9.25 out of 10 because it didn't have a single. It's kind of within pitch. It would have been nice to have gotten at least a single, something like that. If I had to guess, it might have been top floor, considering that that was one of the few ones that was actually full bound kind of finish. But I look within the pitch as far as saying some bonus type packaging just within pitch. You get the extra moments. There are like some Nipsey Hussle kind of spoken interludes on some of these type of songs. Just an overall fun type project that nails the particular vibes, continues that Dat Piff kind of era as far as what's first going to happen. But it's just kind of the concept. Didn't have a single. A lot of these songs are unfinished, but it's still throwing enough within the pitch behind it. It's just kind of the pitch. But yeah, so it's just the fair about that particular aspect. So it's good type, boisterous type one. So within the fair, as far as that particular kind of goes, in terms of the future, the unfortunate thing is Nipsey Hussle is deceased, but the concept of it, he has plenty of these mixtapes. I'm probably going to get to some of these type ones like Crenshaw and other type ones. Is some of the biggest type ones, or probably just a lot of these in general as far as what's first going to happen. Do also want to get to Victory Lap, some of those type ones, but this was a pretty bona fide type delight here to kind of gotten just an extra type packaging, good expansion pack, like I was saying, to the Marathon Continues. Is pretty much like it's a good 1-2 punch of classics from Nipsey Hussle within that Marathon Continues brand as far as those pitch kind of goes. So good delights on here and a good extra packaging of it.